Yes, people. It feels like only 10 minutes ago we was doing the player ratings. And we're back with LBIns. Manchester City are now only 1 point behind Liverpool. Lots to discuss. City won the game, but it wasn't perfect, not ideal. There's still things that need to improve. But now that we're 1 point behind and they've got that secured in the bank now, does it make us feel a little bit more calm? Don't know. We'll find out during the stream. Let's have a look who we've got in the building. Big up to Cameron Dempsey. Good to see you, my man. Big up to Itchy Goal, Horton. Easily, Ollie says, you lot are cooked once Javi comes in the summer. Says Ollie. Big up to Suvic, Arvida Zane, Supreme, Ruben, True Blue Tie. Big up to Reese, DJ Christopher. We got Sebastian here as well. Big up to Nathan Ake. What's going on with you, Bray? You know what I mean? What's happening? Am I doing a Liverpool pray along? Nah, I'm going to do a Napoli versus Barcelona because that's a better game. Big up to Ethan. Ryan's here, Creeper Boy, Ildunican. Big up to Crush, Edge, Matty, Stacey's here. Big up to Wolves F1, Ed's Mancunian Therapy says it's 5 a.m. in the US. Big up to Dash Mesh, Horton, and Linny. Hopefully, you guys are all doing well. Nobbins, we won a game.
Yay! We're back.
We are back. We just had a slight dip, guys.
We never left, but you know we are back.
We never left. We never left. But yeah, we won. Obviously, it wasn't pretty. It was. I didn't think it was a great performance, to be honest with you. I thought it was slow, lethargic. Didn't really have too many ideas. Didn't create too many chances. But you know, I said before the game, the main thing is that we win the football match, and we did that. So, what's your assessment on last night?
Yes. So, did you say that you thought it was a bad game? Sorry, was that right?
I thought it was a poor performance. Yeah.
Maybe we might disagree here. I know I don't think it was great, obviously, because it's never going to be a great performance when you come up against a really deep defensive unit in what Brentford were. Like, it was a total opposite to what I saw against Liverpool, where they kept coming forwards and then they kept just getting caught out by Liverpool. Like, Brentford didn't even want to try to attack us. For the most part, I thought the keeper played well for the most part as well. They only had one proper chance, I think, which came from a counter attack. It was that one where the ball just went over Rodri's head. I think he misjudged the flight of the ball, and then I think it was a Wisser or Visser had that effort. But apart from that, we limited them to basically nothing. So I was happy with that from a defensive standpoint. It was slow. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't great to watch. But it never was going to be fair, as I say, based on the opposition. I was much happier with it than the Chelsea performance. As I say, I thought we were more measured. I thought we gave up less counterattacks. The finishing, again, wasn't good. There was that one, that Bernardo header, for example. That should have made it 1-0. There are a couple more moments as well where, again, maybe if the ball falls to another player, like I think it fell to Ruben Diaz at one point, maybe we go to 1-0 up there as well. There were some good individual performances, which I'm sure we'll touch on in more detail later. Oscar Bob, fantastic. Just looks like a starter, doesn't look like an academy player. Kanji, imperious at the back. Stones playing the full 90. Alvarez used in a different position. Get on to whether it was better or not later. And Haaland getting a goal as well. He needed that after his hat-trick of misses. As we touched on, the important thing is the 3 points. I thought it was a step forward compared to the Chelsea game. Is it as good as we want City to be? No, but it is a step in the right direction, I think.
I thought we kept the ball well. Thought passing the ball, that was fine, but I just thought it was extremely slow. Now, to be fair, and people have put this on Twitter last night, we did only just play a game on Saturday.
That too, I suppose, yeah.
And before that, we played one on Tuesday. So we have had quite a few games in a short space of time. So maybe we can forgive the performance for being a bit slow because of that. But for me, I'm just like, if that continues, then we're going to be in serious trouble. Now, I got Bournemouth coming up at the weekend. You know, they're not in good form at the moment. They've not won a game in the last 5, 3 draws, 2 losses. I think this run stretches back to sort of the middle of December, where since they've last won a game. I think it was Fulham at home. But right. Yeah, listen, last night was a weird game. It was stressful. You know, apparently you could tell in the stadium that it was high levels of stress. You know what I mean? The fans in the stadium were stressed. and anxious. I was stressed. I assume you were stressed. It was just like because of the draw against Chelsea. I said this yesterday. Before the Chelsea game, I was saying we need to win every game. I need to win every game up until Liverpool. However, we did kind of have like a small mistake in us. Like we had a draw in us, right? Because like I say, we're only 1 point behind. The problem is now we don't really have that in us anymore. You know what I'm saying? So like we actually can't afford to drop another point. We can't afford to draw. We can't afford to lose another game. We really can't. Because then you got to beat Liverpool and you got to beat Arsenal and win the rest of the games. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's why yesterday was getting a little bit frustrated. A lot of people, including myself, just because like the pressure's on. The pressure's on. I said yesterday, I feel like even though we're in the middle of February, I feel like we're in the middle of March, April. I feel like it's that tense. And it's probably because there's 3 teams at the top of the table, not just 2. And we're all really, really close on the points.
And also because like we haven't really hit the levels that we probably know that we should be hitting at this stage. Last season, we had we'd started to put in those brilliant performances and started to accumulate those really good results as well. Whereas we haven't necessarily seen that bounce back yet this season. We're still, we're sorry against Chelsea. I know we won against Brentford, obviously, but it wasn't brilliant. So we need to see that bounce back quickly. We need to hopefully see Pep figure out the issues quickly, sooner rather than later. Otherwise, the title will slip away from us.
Let me ask you about Akanji, because you've been someone who's been asking for Akanji to be playing. Now, you wanted him to be playing at right back, not left back, but I thought he was probably our best defender yesterday. Certainly up there with the man of the match award in terms of one of the best players on the pitch. Didn't really do anything wrong. What was your thoughts on Akanji? Do you think that he was proven right by having Akanji play at full back rather than the centre back, or do you still think that it's the right back position that he needs to be playing? Because I thought he had a really solid game. I can't remember anything he did wrong, to be honest.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he plays well wherever he plays in that back line. He's not unaccustomed to playing a left back, like he famously played there last season in the demolition of Arsenal at home. He didn't really put a foot wrong yesterday. I tweeted saying he was imperious. He was my man of the match. I thought his ability to read the game, like snuff out chances before they even materialized, was brilliant. Even offensively and going forwards, he was a threat. Like he put in a couple of dangerous crosses and a one long shot at one time. Showing Kyle Walker, if you are going to shoot as a fullback, at least get it on target and cause some issues for the keeper, force a corner. That's what Akanji did. Yeah, and he's just so, as long as he's not playing in midfield against a tough opposition, he can play basically anywhere on the pitch from a defensive standpoint. I'd still like to have him at right back over Walker, and then you play one of Ake or Gvardiol. I think that would be our best defense. But yeah, he deserves to be starting every single important game for us because he's been fantastic this season, which we've touched on. And yeah, last night, fantastic. My man of the match. Brilliant bargain. One of the signings of the season in respect of when we signed him in respect of like value compared to output.
Yeah, I think he's a great player. You know what I mean? I think he's still underrated by a lot of people in not just City fans, you know what I mean, but like just general football fans anyway. It's unbelievable the performance levels that he's putting in. I think he's up there with Ake as being one of our best defenders this year. I'd probably slightly just give it a Kanji, to be honest with you, just over Ake, because Ake, I think beginning of the season didn't start a few games and he actually started a bit poorly right at the start of the season. Ake. So I'd probably just edge it towards Manuel Akanji at the moment, me personally. And that's some going when you've got John Stones, Ruben Diaz, you've got Kyle Walker in there as well, and Ake. You know what I mean? To be saying that, and even if you don't agree with me, you don't think I'm massively wrong. That he's up there, and yeah, he's a slammer, and he really does help our build-up play, doesn't he? And I feel like yesterday as well, brought up that heat map then as well. I feel like when he wasn't properly central. If you look at the heat map here, because he's not like properly central, I feel like there was less pressure on him to like build up. Whereas in the game against Chelsea, when he was like in a more central position, like here, there's a lot of pressure on him there to play the forward passes. Now, I believe Akanji can play that role, but the only way he can play that role if he's full of confidence, yeah, and he's absolutely slamming it. So, for example, when we played against Inter Milan in the final, played really well. I know obviously John Stones pushed him, but he also pushed up really, really far. You've seen him making deep runs and carrying the ball forward. And in fact, I think our goal come from Manuel Akanji playing the ball forward. But he was full of confidence because he had a run in the team. Pep was backing him, blah, 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 blah. At the moment, I feel like he's not fully confident in that position. So when he's not, put him in this area here. I feel like just takes the pressure off a little bit because you got Rodri in the middle, etc., etc. But he's been a fantastic signing since we got him. He's so versatile. And yeah, you know, may continue because honestly, he's got so much to his game. He really, really has. And listen, I find it interesting about what time he goes to the right back because I agree with you. I think at some point, Akanji is going to have to be given a run at the right back position, not just because maybe people think that Walker's not been playing well, but because Walker's been playing so many minutes for Manchester City this season. He's 32, 33 years old. He's our most played player. Is he still our most played player, actually? Has Foden overtaken him?
In terms of minutes in all comps, I know it's Foden.
Oh, yeah, Foden is our most played player by minutes. Walker is second, but he's 32, 33, so he's going to have to be given a rest at some point. Obviously, we've seen Ake get given a rest yesterday. You'd assume that at some point, maybe at the weekend, you know, tight ground, do you really need someone like Walker there? Maybe he could be given a rest, but yeah, listen, Akanji's been fantastic. Another player that I want to speak about who has been great is Rodri. He is absolutely stunning. I mean, I'm literally running out of like ways to describe this guy. When I'm doing the player ratings, I just feel like I'm saying the same thing every single time. Yesterday, I don't know about you, that first half in particular, I felt like Rodri was the only player really that was really like doing anything on the ball, you know, because you had kind of Foden in that weird hybrid position out on that right hand side again. Bernardo and Alvarez can't create much in that midfield. Rodri, yeah, every time he got the ball, he was driving forward, he was doing this, he was doing that, he was defending, he was creating, it was just absolutely unbelievable. Now, obviously, we all know about the fact that we need someone to be able to take the pressure off him because he has to play every single game. But, bro, I mean, he is. Is he the best player in the world? Could we say he's the best player in the world? Has he got a claim to that? Do you think?
It would, depending on what City win, he'll definitely be in Ballon d'Or contentions. Absolutely. I mean that award is based on what you win first and foremost. But in a world where, you know, City win another Champions League, for example, he's definitely going to be in that top 3 shortlist, I'd imagine. Even that heat map you just brought up then, that is not the heat map of a defensive midfielder. That is the heat map, you know, of an 8/10 sort of player. Look how advanced he is.
Yeah.
It's insane. And yeah, he was taking on a lot of creative burden yesterday. And that's a double-edged sword. It's good because he's obviously very good on the ball. However, it does mean that if we lose the ball, then obviously our defensive midfielder is very high up the pitch. And that's how we nearly conceded from that, you know, Wissa chance that I mentioned earlier. But yeah, so that is a bit of a frailty. But outside of that, yeah, brilliant. That again, I tweeted about this. There's this really nice attacking pattern that City do this season. It's where Rodri picks up the ball. This is one of the benefits of playing Walker at right wing, I suppose. Rodri picks up the ball. He does a cheeky diagonal switch to the right hand side. Walker makes a late run. And then he normally either crosses it first time or heads it across goal. And that's what led to the Bernardo chance. And I know it was offside, but that's how we also put the ball in the back of the net after we went 1-0 up, which could have killed the game had Walker just timed his run slightly. That's happened a number of times throughout the season. And it's only ever been that combination, Rodri to Walker. We haven't really seen it with anyone else. So yeah, clearly this season, Rodri's been given more license to push forward and to create, and he's been able to showcase those creative talents. And I
think he's needed to though, bro, because of the loss of Gundogan. Yeah, well, exactly, obviously, like I'll tell you now, Bernardo Silva does not create chances in that midfield. That's not what he's there to do. Yeah, he's not David Silva. So Bernardo doesn't do it. Listen, we all know about Alvarez and his issues at the moment playing in midfield. So realistically, you've only got 2 players in there that can create, which is Foden and Rodri. Whereas last year you'd have 3 because you'd have Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Rodri could also do it as well. So you're actually a man down in terms of like proper creative play because Gundogan could create and he could score goals as well. But I love that little ping ball that he does, that little Pirlo dink into Walker. And to be fair,
Mm.
Walker normally does quite well with that sort of
Yeah.
situation. You're right.
It's because he doesn't have to think. If he can hit it first
Yes.
time, then
Yes.
he's fine. But if he's got to take a pass and then cross, then you might as well just forget it because he can't do it. But if he can cross it first time, they're sort of all right balls.
Yeah. No, completely agree. Completely. I thought Walker played all right yesterday. I don't know what you thought, because obviously, you're someone who's had you say on Walker quite a lot. I thought Walker played quite well. I don't really remember him doing anything defensively wrong, which was good to see. Although he didn't really have too much defending to do. Put a couple of cracking balls in the box, a couple not so cracking. I don't think he had a shot either, which was nice. I thought he played quite well.
But if if it was 0-0, in like the 85th minute, for a fact he's having a shot. He's lining 100%. One up. 100%. Let's be real.
Yeah, he was all right yesterday. But yeah, Rodri's absolutely fantastic. And if we have a look, guys, at the yellow card watch now, because obviously this is another thing that keeps us awake.
This is your little thing, isn't it? I swear you're touching it every week.
Bro, because I'm telling you, man, if we lose Rodri for 2 games,
you're absolutely spot on.
So 7 yellow cards he's currently on. He's on a 5-match Premier League streak now with no yellow cards. Of course, if he gets 10 yellows, he gets a 2-match ban. These are the games remaining before the reset. So he's now secured Liverpool away. He will play Liverpool away unless obviously he gets a straight red card, 2 yellow cards against United, hence a red card, or gets injured. So he is available against Brighton, against Liverpool. Here's the interesting thing. Brighton gets moved if City or Brighton get to the next round of the FA Cup.
Right.
City play Luton, Brighton play Wolves. If either of us progress, that then gets moved, and Arsenal will take the spot and go above Brighton, which means there's actually now a pretty good chance that Rodri could feature against United, Liverpool, and Arsenal, which is huge. Villa, Palace, still looking a little bit sketchy, yeah?
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's good news, isn't it? Because he's so crucial.
So after the Palace game, that's when the yellow cards become irrelevant. It resets, yeah?
After 32 games, it resets, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because even after the Arsenal game, Brighton away would be a hard game. Villa at home would be a hard game. Palace away would be a hard game. So I'm not even looking at it as just make Liverpool Arsenal. I think he's got to make all of them. We've got to get to the point where he can reset, to be fair. We've got to have him available at every single game.
Do you think he can go through these games with only getting 2 yellow cards?
He definitely can, because to be fair, when was the last time he got a yellow in the Premier League?
6 matches ago.
Yeah. So, and compare that to the rates he was getting them. So something's definitely changed. Either Pep's just, because obviously we're aware of it. You better believe they'll be aware of it as well. They're not, these people aren't. Rodri's not stupid, and Guardiola's not stupid.
You'd like to think so. Pellegrini didn't know about the rules when we played Bayern Munich. So who knows? Well, maybe they don't know.
Well, yeah, that's Manuel. That's not my ball fraud. Yes. So there must have been a conversation of I know that sometimes you got to do a tactical foul, cynical foul, like a classic Fernandinho, but you're doing it too often and where it's not needed. So just chill out. We need you for these upcoming games. So. And also, we've provided Rodri with a bit more support in recent games. So, yeah, my theory is that he will only get 2 in that time period, maximum.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Let's speak about Alvarez again, because Alvarez is the hot topic at the moment, bro. A lot of people have got their say on Alvarez, some people are really not liking him. Some people blaming him. Some people blaming the manager for playing him in that position. People are asking questions. Why is Alvarez playing in midfield? Listen, last night, I didn't think he was great, but I didn't think he was terrible. I think in the end, I gave him like a 6.5, 7 on the player rate, something like that. He did get the assist, but let's be honest, Haaland kind of done all the work there with the touch and running through. Just what's your sort of thoughts on Alvarez at the moment, bro? Because it is really sort of becoming a little bit toxic, isn't it? The Alvarez situation now.
Yeah. So certainly in the online fan base anyway, 100%. It's very, very weird. I feel like we're talking about him every week, but we have to, because it's such an odd situation. Never in Guardiola's career as a City manager has a forward player been accommodated so much that I can think of. even Aguero was holding bench sometimes so that Pep could, make a team which he felt was more fluid and was better. The exact opposite seems to be happening here. I think he start is that in fact, has he started every single Premier League game or
Yes.
something ridiculous? So
Yeah, yes.
It's not even like, so the theory of, give him enough minutes or he'll leave doesn't hold any water to me, because he's been getting a ridiculous amount of minutes and a mental amount of starts. It feels like he was being shoehorned in every other game. But like, okay, maybe that's a reason. But no, it can't just be about keeping the player happy, because you don't need to start every single game to be a happy footballer. You can play like, 2/3 of them, a half. A player of his age and experience with the competition he's got, you could definitely get away with playing like a half, and half the games and it being fine. Yesterday, he was played in another new position. We played him at right wing when we didn't have the ball, which I haven't seen before, which is actually something that I've suggested, and I think you mentioned Martin said as well, if you got to play Alvarez, maybe play him on the right without the ball, so at least Foden can play centrally. That is what happened, and without the ball, he was fine. His pressing's never been an issue, his defensive work rate's never been an issue. When Walker pushed up, Alvarez went into the middle, but that whole right-hand side was basically just a graveyard of nothing in respect of creative actions, because you've got Alvarez and Walker out there, and we all know that that's not going to give you anything, without like De Bruyne being there. Even his pass for the goal was bad. People
try to like give him a lot of credit for the pass. If you actually look at it,
it's a bad ball.
Yeah,
Haaland
Haaland does the work on that, man. To be honest with you, Haaland does the work.
Exactly. He fizzes it into him. It's too hard. It's not very accurate. I've no idea how Haaland's able to take the sting out of it and control it that well. It's really good play by Haaland to keep it alive. Because that's quite a simple ball, but he somehow managed to make him not a mess of it. That's not the right word, but he made it harder for himself than he needed to. I think now maybe his confidence is going as well. Like his strikes from outside the box don't hit the same. He's not testing the keeper in the same manner. I think not just from what we deem as fans to be the best for the team. I just think that maybe for his confidence and for his own well-being, maybe he should be taken out of the team for at least a game, just so he can reset, because I don't know what the gain is of him playing when he's putting in bad performances, because it can't be good for him either. Just like on a human level, if he keeps putting in bad performances, at what stage is his confidence hit, and then that will impact his performances, and then it's a never-ending cycle. I don't get it, to be honest.
AJ Green makes a good point in the chat, because obviously at the start of the season he was scoring the goals, and even though it wasn't pretty, he was scoring the goals, and it was like, right, well, he scored the goals. Who cares if his performances ain't the best? But now the goals are kind of drying up a little bit. Like you said, the shots yesterday, not one hit the target. I think all three. I think he had 3 shots, none of them hit the target, and there were the 2 of them. I can't remember the third. 2 of them really should have hit the target. The shot from outside the box and the half volley, maybe slightly more difficult technique, but you still expect him to hit the target there. But maybe it is. Maybe it is time for him just to be taken out the firing line and just given a little bit of given a break, because the guy's played a lot of football over the last few years. You know what I mean? He has played a lot of football, with obviously played in Argentina, the World Cup, then coming to City straight away and playing a lot of football. Maybe it is just time for him to have a little bit of a rest on the sideline. But obviously if Kevin De Bruyne's not available and we don't have another attacking midfielder, really, what else can you do? Because we don't really have another creative player in there. You could play Foden and Bernardo. I don't think Bernardo's particularly good in that attacking midfield position. I think his best position is probably the right wing, unless you're playing him in midfield for a big game. Then I think that's where it works. But I don't know, man. I feel a little bit sorry for him, really, Alvarez, because I feel he's obviously he's a striker playing out of position. I don't really think that first of all, that's not particularly fair judging a player like that. It's like when people try and judge Gvardiol crossing the ball. I mean, I'm like, what you going to stick it in for? You know what I mean? Is there a centre back try to cross it? Like, obviously, it's not going to be the best crosses in the world, and kind of obviously it's less dramatic, less extreme than that. But I just feel a little bit sorry for Alvarez, and I think you're probably right. I think maybe just drop him out of the team, give him a rest for a bit. And then maybe bring him in a little bit fresher, see how he gets on. But listen, obviously the key part of the squad, Pep loves him. Pep clearly likes what he gives the side, and if you actually look at his stats this year, he's had a fantastic year. And it wasn't too long ago people were saying he's been our best player of the season. If you go back to maybe October, November, people were saying, "Oh, Alvarez is our best player this season." Then he had a bit of a dip. Then he got good again, started scoring, and then he's had a bit of another dip again. So yeah, for me, I probably agree. Just give him a little bit of a rest. Maybe give him a rest this weekend if Kevin De Bruyne's available. But yeah, let's see that. Let's see how he gets on. But hopefully Pep Guardiola will eventually stop playing him in this position, because I just really don't think it suits him.
Yeah, he's got to. It must end. To be fair, there's nothing. Yeah, as you say, at the start of the season, there was nothing wrong, because if a player is getting you output, like I think he was getting, I don't know what his exact scoring / assisting rate was, but it seemed like at every game or every other game he was getting a goal contribution. If your players are doing that, then it's really easy to ignore any squad imbalances they bring, because it's like, well, that they're scoring goals, they're getting assists, they're getting output. If they're winning your football games, you can basically forgive bad overall performances to some extent. But when that output dries up, there you go. Like that's quite impressive, isn't it? So there you go. Assist, goal, blank. Goal and assist, 2 goals, blank, but then goal. So yeah, it's sort of like a rate of every other game, whereas it's actually still better than I thought, to be fair. But certainly compared to the start of the season, it's nowhere near the same level.
Yeah,
And
so it's clearly dropped off. You can clearly see it's dropped off compared to the start there. Look, I mean, pretty much every single game he was getting involved in something.
Yeah,
and then
exactly. And if that output dries up, then what are you left with? If you are relying on the output to justify you playing and justify you saying you're having good performances, but then the output goes away, then you're actually not contributing anything to the team. You're actually just a burden, because you're taking the spot of someone who would be contributing something. If De Bruyne can't play in that middle area, then hey, I'm sure we're going to talk about Oscar Bob. I think maybe he genuinely deserves a run there, as I say, if De Bruyne is not available and we want a creative spark.
Oscar Bob, for me, played his best football in the academy in the middle.
Well, that's what he is. He's a pocket player. That's the sort of player he is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be interesting to see if he. I don't think he'll be given the keys to that position this year. I think maybe Pep will want to bet him in on the wing. It's sort of like a sort of what he did with Foden. It's like less risk. You lose the ball on the wing, less risk of something going wrong. Whereas if you lose the ball in the middle of the park, obviously that's a dangerous situation. But yeah, I thought Bob had an okay game yesterday. I thought Pep throwing him into the deep end, and it was just right, sink or swim. And you definitely didn't come away from the game thinking, he stood out as being a bad performer. He was very good on the ball. I think he lost it only a few times. Should have had a goal, really. Good defending from Ben Mee. What can you do about that? You can't blame Oscar Bob for that. It was in good effort to get the ball on target and that. And on another day that goes in. But yeah, listen, Oscar Bob. A lot of people have been asking for Oscar Bob to start some games. Was you surprised that he started ahead of Doku yesterday?
No, I think that for me, I wanted him to start against Chelsea. He's ready. He is that good. We know that Pep trusts him. We've spoken about it before. He brought him on against Aston Villa when we were 0-0 at the time. I know we lost the game, but that wasn't due to Oscar Bob. He was actually very good when he came on. He brought him on against Newcastle when we needed a goal. So the trust is clearly there already. He is a very secure footballer. You mentioned that he doesn't really lose the ball. So that's why I want him to play against Chelsea. We knew Brentford were going to focus on the counter, so I think it's important for him to be there. And that near goal, I mean, that would have been another goal of the month contender. The way when he was running onto it, in my head, I was like, right, he's got 2 options. He can either hit it first time or he can square it to Alvarez. He doesn't do either of those things. He somehow passes it to himself past the defender, and it's just a brilliant, it's such an intelligent bit of football that I wouldn't have even considered was on. As I said, I thought there were only 2 options. He managed to find a third option, which the defenders obviously couldn't read. But for a Ben Mee interception, it's probably another goal of the month contender. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's not an academy player. He's not playing well for an academy player. He's playing well, and that's it. He's already at the level.
This is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying this season. I've been like, he's no longer just this academy player guy.
Yeah, he's just a player. Anymore. Like
he's
Rico Lewis.
Yeah, he's a player who's in that difficult position. I always think this is the hardest part of a footballer's career, where you're no longer in the academy, but you're not quite playing first team football week in, week out. So you're just kind of not playing. You're just training with the first team. But he played well yesterday. He was calm. I think I think Pep loves him. I think he's the perfect type of Pep play. If you could almost build a winger, yeah, someone like a Grealish who can keep the ball, can take instructions. And Oscar Bob, I think probably looks like he might get more GA as well, basically. I think he looks like he gets in and around it a little bit more than maybe a Grealish does. I think he could be a real asset for this team. Would you start him against Bournemouth at the weekend? I think I would.
Yeah, definitely. That's another game where Bournemouth are going to be looking to counterattack on us. You need to be secure with the ball. And I'd rather start Bob and bring on Doku if you need to, as we did yesterday against Brentford. I think Doku is a great option to bring on in those games, especially up against a really low defence. Those are sort of the games that are made for him. And again, if we're struggling, he's a game breaker who you can bring on to break that defence, is Doku. But yeah, in terms of starting, yeah, I think Bob played really well. I think he deserves another chance on that left side, 100%.
Yeah, interested. Big up to Piplup with a super chat. Says, I trust Pep in regards to Alvarez. He'll learn, says Piplup with the donation. Well, he's not learned yet. He keeps on playing in that midfield position.
Does he mean that Pep will learn or that Alvarez will learn the new position?
Oh, a good question, actually. I don't know what
because if it's the latter, I don't think he will. I don't think Alvarez will ever be a midfielder. I think he's a striker. I think Pep will hopefully learn to not play him there, but I don't think Alvarez will ever learn that position.
Okay.
Be interesting to know what Pip. Oh, but Pip says Alvarez will learn. I'm not convinced. I'd love to think that, but I'm just not convinced.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Castro says in the chat, he says, LB, get a dog, might help bond the team. It says, lol, leave win alone. I don't want a fucking dog. My club gets a dog, man. We're finished. We're absolutely finished. Guys, make sure you make sure you smash a like on the stream if you've not done so already. Let's get those likes up, man. Over 300 people tuned in right now. Let's get those likes to at least 150 likes. I need two people to hit that thumbs up button and get us to 150 likes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And make sure you subscribe to LBIns as well. The link is in the description. And have you got a video coming out on yesterday, or what's the plan?
Yeah, well, I might make a video on Alvarez and his role against Chelsea and Brentford and like what works and maybe what doesn't work. That might be interesting.
That would be interesting. Let's turn our attention to this weekend then. It's a massive, massive weekend of Premier League action. Obviously, Liverpool play tonight against Luton, but we'd expect Liverpool to win that game, especially because they're at home. However, could one team be knocked out of the title race this weekend because Arsenal are playing Newcastle United at home? A City win against Bournemouth, which is an if, you know what I mean? City will go to 59 points, will be 4 points ahead of Arsenal by the time Arsenal play against Newcastle. If Newcastle were to win that game, Arsenal would be 4 points behind us. They'd be 5 behind Liverpool with only 12 games to go. Arsenal still have to come to Manchester City, so they'd have to beat City at the Etihad. Do you think Arsenal are kind of like low-key out of the title race if they lose against Newcastle? Do you think they have to win?
Yeah, it sounds stupid because there'd still be still nearly a third of the season to go, but the remaining fixtures for most of the teams are favourable. There are obviously some in there, like we've got to go away to Spurs. They've got to go to Old Trafford. Both of them have got to go to Old Trafford. So those are sorts of games where you're looking at and you're going, okay, maybe we can afford like a draw or a slip up in those games because you'd expect another team in the title race to maybe slip up if we do. But yeah, the games where you're like, this should be a nailed on, you expect to win. And the way Newcastle are going and the way Arsenal are going, Newcastle at home for Arsenal is a game that they must be winning. It's certainly one they can't afford to slip up against because then they don't have any credit in the bank when they play Spurs, when they go to Old Trafford, obviously when they come to the Etihad. And likewise with us, like we couldn't really afford to draw at home against Chelsea because we've got Anfield, we've got Arsenal, we've got to go away to Spurs. We've even, Liverpool have got to go away to Everton. We've got another tricky game, away against Brighton isn't easy either. So yeah, those are the games at this stage of the season. If you want to be a serious contender, I think you've got to win. You can maybe look at the tricky ones and go, okay, perhaps a draw would be fine because maybe we can bank on another team dropping points in a similar manner. But yeah, home against Newcastle for Arsenal, that is must win, definitely.
Yeah, I think I think they'll probably win the game, to be honest with you, because Newcastle are a
I
bit
expect
weird.
them to.
Yeah, but if they don't, this is the thing. The pressure's on everyone, by the way. And like, by the way, this applies to City as well, because City have to win their game against Bournemouth. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
obviously, everyone's more focused on Arsenal this weekend because they've got the tougher game. That's just how it works, obviously. But yeah, listen, that this is going to be a mad weekend. Obviously, Liverpool don't play because they play tomorrow. Then they've got the cup final. Obviously, they've got all these injuries. Alisson doesn't look like he's going to be available for the City game. He's going to be out until end of March, they
They've got a
reckon.
lot of injuries, Liverpool, like a lot who will be
Yeah, they do.
missing
They do. The
in the
good thing
coming
for them, they've
weeks.
only got 2 Premier League games in like the next 2 weeks, so they're going to get a lot of them back.
Mhm.
It's not like they've got Premier League game after Premier League game after Premier League game. They're not doing too bad, but they are struggling at the moment with injuries. But like they've got Luton tomorrow, then they got Forest, and then they got the City game. But by that 10th of March, we're 20 days away. I think they'll have 1 or 2 of those players back at least. Like Salah will be definitely back, Nunez will be back, Zoboszlai will be back, Curtis Jones will be back. So it's not too bad. It's just short term. Like it's probably more just for the cup final that it's shagged them a little bit, because obviously everyone expected Liverpool just to turn up at this Wembley game, play 90 minutes and just lift the trophy. Whereas now it's like, bloody hell,
Mhm.
Chelsea could actually potentially win this just because Liverpool have got so many injuries. Like it's ridiculous. But yeah,
Mhm.
listen, I think Liverpool are kind of chilling for the moment. They've not really got too many difficult fixtures until sort of like April, and they've got a semi tricky running as well. They got Villa second to last game. They got Spurs third to last game. West Ham fourth to last game away. So some tricky games there. But yeah, this weekend, if Arsenal lose and City and Liverpool win, I think that would be very tricky for Arsenal to win the title. Then
Yeah, every point is massive at this stage. Yeah, no one can afford to drop any points. You can't afford to drop 2 points. Certainly not 3. Like a win is like bare minimum. It feels like that's why it's hard to celebrate these wins, because it's like, yeah, we did what we needed to do. That was like bare minimum. Ideally, we would have worked on our goal difference.
Yeah, no, exactly, because Arsenal slam the goal difference at the moment. People up again with another super chat, says Bob looks like a more polished than Doku. He's a top player. I think they're slightly different, obviously. Like I think Doku, like I say, I think Doku falls more into the Grealish mold of ball retention, higher IQ, and Doku's more like an explosive type of player, more like a Sterling. I always say I think it's great to have optionality. I
Mhm.
always think it's good to have options. I don't want the same player. I don't want 2 Grealishes. I don't want 2 Dokus. I want different types of players. And obviously now we've got Oscar Bob coming through. Pep clearly really trusts him. He's versatile. He can play left. He can play right. He can play in the middle. This is a big situation. So yeah, let's see if he starts again this weekend. I think if he starts again this weekend, yeah, Oscar Bob, that's a big sign that Pep like really really rates him, because these are like must win games.
Mhm.
It's not just, oh, you're playing Brentford and Bournemouth, what you talk about. There's a must win game. You have to win. If we don't win the games, we're the ones out the title race, not Arsenal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So
It might be a similar situation. Though it was the 18-19 season, and I think, in fact, we just got knocked out by Spurs in the Champions League, and then we played a home game against Spurs. Obviously, must win, otherwise Liverpool would have gone ahead. And he started Foden, who was like a baby at that point, and it was like,
mm,
whoa, what? And Foden actually ended up getting the goal, and we won 1-0. So yeah, it's similar vibes. To be fair, like I think like Bob's slightly older, sure, than what Foden was, but you we can compare it to last season, for example, in the title race with Arsenal. Would Pep have started Palmer in a similar manner? The answer is obviously no, he wouldn't. So it just shows the amount of faith that Guardiola has with Bob. He clearly thinks he's ready now, which is great. I think he's ready
mm,
now as well. He's brilliant.
mm. Yeah, very good, very good. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream if you've not done so already. We did get to that 150 like target. We're now only 20 likes away from 200. So please hit that thumbs up button if you've not done so already. Anything else you wanted to discuss about yesterday? Any of the fixtures coming up, Nobbins? Who we got coming up? Yeah, we got Bournemouth coming up, haven't we? We got the big game there against Luton away. That's not going to be easy. That, let me tell you. I watched them again against United. Every time I watch Luton at home, they're a very, very difficult team to beat. Then you got Man United in the league again. This is it, isn't it? We're in the part of the season now where it's sink or swim, man.
Yeah, well, it's the title running, isn't it? We need all our players fit and available. I think Grealish and Gvardiol are still going to be out for like at least another week, but hopefully they'll be back soon. De Bruyne has got niggles in his hamstring, according to
Yeah, that's not
Guardiola.
ideal, that is it?
Which no, but he still said he was okay, and that it was just like it was more a prevention thing resting him. So I'm still hopeful that he will be fine.
Are we to assume that that is in the same hamstring that he had the surgery in?
I'd guess so. I don't know enough about hamstring surgery, but I would assume that if you've not played in however many months and you have like a grade 3 tear and you have surgery and then you're asked to play elite football for however many minutes, I'd imagine there would be slight niggles in that regard. So as I say, it seems to be more precautionary and prevention based rather than this is definitely going to lead to another injury.
Yeah, it says there. It says I didn't want to take any risk with him. He's okay. It was more about prevention. He said he didn't feel comfortable, and the doctors said not to take a risk. Well, he's not okay then, is he? So that doesn't really make too much sense there because he's saying he's okay, but apparently he didn't train and it's a prevention. He said he didn't feel comfortable. So I'm getting mixed messages here.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was sort of like a similar thing to last season where he felt it, but then they kept him playing through it. So maybe it's like a similar vibe. But if you just didn't play him through it, maybe he would have been all right. So I'm hopeful that it's just a slight little bump, and maybe he definitely won't start against Bournemouth, for example. But then after that, maybe because isn't there an international break coming up as well? Like
it's middle of March or something. It's the 16th of March, I think it is. Oh, it's after the Brighton game. The first game back's Arsenal.
Yes, well there you go. So he's not actually injured. He will be fine from the sound of it. Long term, it sounds like this was more like precaution. Why was he on the bench then? And again, if he was totally out, then he clearly wouldn't have been involved at all, would he? So it's clearly not as bad as it could potentially be. I know the chat's getting excited. He's injured, but as I say, he's not injured. He will be fine.
So you think he won't be playing against Bournemouth as well?
I think that I'd like to see him on the bench, and I'd like to see him used how we used him against Newcastle if we have to use him.
Right.
I think that at this point,
a weapon that's in the back pocket, like
yeah, Clint Eastwood.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that is a ridiculous weapon to be able to bring up to be able to bring on. That would be like the best bench impact thing in the history of Premier League football, maybe. To just casually bring on De Bruyne for 20 minutes at a time. If there's even a slight chance of aggravating the injury, then he should not be starting. No chance.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, if you look at it, I'm basically looking at that Man United game there. Yeah. And he's got quite a lot of time, yeah? It's 3rd of March. What's that? Like 12, 13 days, something like that. Got like nearly 2 weeks to chill out.
Don't play him in the FA Cup. I don't even include him in the squads. Just give him a rest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we definitely beat Luton without him, but I'd rather we get knocked out of the FA Cup than risk De Bruyne's injury. Give him depending on the game state, give him like 20 to 30 minutes max against Bournemouth, and then he's got quite a big rest going into the derby. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you don't really need to play him against Copenhagen.
Yeah, exactly. Give him another rest there, and then play him on the bench. Maybe come on for like the last 5-10 minutes to give him some sharpness, and then he's fully available for Anfield.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, I agree. That's a bit of a disappointment. That was the only real disappointing thing coming from last night. But yeah, mad. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it.
We were talking about something before we mentioned De Bruyne. What we were talking about?
Chat. What was we speaking about before De Bruyne chat?
Because I think I had another thing that I wanted to say, but I can't recall what it was now. It would have been wise, I'm sure.
It would have been highly wise.
It would have been wise beyond my years.
Let me watch back what we were saying.
I can't remember what it was. Maybe I'm chatting rubbish, but no, I'm pretty sure that I wanted to say something else. So about dick sizes, brilliant.
I don't know what you was talking about.
No, I've not. It's gone. I don't know. But yeah, we won 3 points against Brentford.
You did mention Gvardiol and Grealish. You mentioned them too, but like
injuries.
Obviously they're going to be back.
Thank you. Yes, that's that. Yes. So it's not actually about City. So I was going to just touching on injuries. the fact that Liverpool have so many injuries, specifically they're out for this League Cup final. I noticed on Twitter, like a Chelsea fan tweeted that if we Chelsea, he said, beat Liverpool, then that means Chelsea will have won more trophies than Liverpool have whilst Klopp's been at Liverpool. I've got a point here. So in a world where Liverpool don't win on Sunday, that then means that obviously it's the risk of it being a trophyless season for Klopp's final last dance enhance. So if they lose on Sunday, does that have any bearing on City and the title race? Because will the pressure be even more on Liverpool with all these injuries to win something?
I love this because when I was in the shower before,
shower talk with LB.
Shower talk with LB. When I was in the shower before, I had this exact thought with myself. What would be better for Manchester City? Liverpool winning, therefore winning the trophy, taking the pressure off the other games, the other competitions, and maybe like, oh, he's won a trophy now, sort of thing, or not winning the trophy. Maybe that could give them a little bit of a depression. Yeah, they might not work as hard, or it could spur them on and be like, right, we need to win this one now. So I don't know. Chat, what are you saying? Are you saying that it would be better for City if they won the cup, Liverpool? Or do you think it would be better if they didn't win the cup? I'm going for didn't win it.
And there's
Just
also,
because I think that would just be, it would be pretty funny if he didn't win anything in his last year.
And also, maybe, again, maybe reading far too much into this. Let's say they lose. That then puts the pressure, obviously, on them to win other competitions. Now, the Premier League is obviously very, very hard to win. So it does that then put more interest from a Liverpool perspective on a competition they're currently in Europe, the Europa League. Will that make them go even further? Will that make them start players they wouldn't normally start on a Thursday night?
They're also, yeah. Well, listen, this is it, isn't it? You know
Will
what I mean?
Salah be going to Slovenia? I don't know what teams are still in it, but I'm definitely clutching at straws here. There's definitely no point to be made here, but it's an interesting conversation. If they lose, does that then put more interest? Because I think you speak to most Liverpool fans, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I think most of them would say we don't really care about the Europa League, but the prospect of a Klopp trophyless final season, if they lose on Sunday, does that then put more value on the Europa League? I think that's an interesting thought experiment.
Does it put more value on the Europa League? I mean, it probably does. Because
if you're a Liverpool fan,
if what you said is true, and I imagine it is because you are a factual guy. If Chelsea win more trophies in the era that Jurgen Klopp is the best manager in England, and Chelsea win more trophies in that same period, then come on, man, that is not a good look for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool, is it? When they're talking about him being the best manager this country's seen, or one of the best managers this country's seen, and they say he's better than Klopp. All right, it's a bit better than Pep, sorry, because Pep spends all this money. All right, what about Chelsea then? Because they've had about 10 different managers in that time. What are you talking about? So,
and that's weird from Chelsea as well. Like, I had no idea they'd won. Obviously, like, I guess Klopp joined when Conte was the manager, and that's when he won the title. Correct. So I guess that must
be the Champions League as well.
And obviously, they've won a Champions League. Like, I forget that. It's like, oh, yeah, they beat us in the Champions League final. Because you don't, I guess it's because they haven't been consistently great in the league. I sort of don't even really think about it, but then you actually look at the numbers. It's like, oh wow, they've actually won quite a lot in that period. As I say, that they're on the same amount of what Klopp's Liverpool have won, which is wild.
Yeah, that is wild. I think Liverpool would anyway. I
think
Liverpool,
with all the injuries.
Yeah, because you just can't trust Chelsea, man, to do a job. Like, look, you look at Chelsea now, right, and you're going, "Fucking hell, lads, you've had some arse season." Yeah, Liverpool have got they can hardly field a starting 11. You go and win this game. And I guarantee it's probably one of the worst performances of the season from Chelsea this Sunday. So you just can't trust them to do anything. So I think Liverpool will win the game. They'll get the first trophy this season. And then it'll be interesting to see how they kick on from that. Like you say, will they shoulders down now, maybe not as going for it because they've already won a trophy, or will it spur them on to win some more? So it will be interesting to see. But listen, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. big up to everyone that joined in. Big up to Pitbull for the donations. Hopefully you guys enjoyed episode of LBIns. We will be back hopefully on Sunday if Nobbins is available. We'll get an LBIns there. I've got, what day is it today? Wednesday. Yeah, so I'm going to do Napoli versus Barcelona tonight. I really don't have the energy, man, to do pray-alongs at the moment. Yeah, because they're just losing every single time. So the pray-alongs are on temporary hold. Yeah, whilst there's other good football on, and I think Napoli versus Barcelona. I think that could be a really good game. You know, are you watching?
Chaotic.
Which game are you watching tonight? Are you watching anything?
I'm probably going to have one playing Football Manager tonight on my Twitch, but I will have I'll have the Arsenal game on. Arsenal play tonight, don't they? I'll have the Arsenal Porto game on in the background, so I can pay attention to that. I think.
Ooh, not Liverpool.
That's not exciting for me. They're going to win. I know they've got injuries, but if it was Luton away, that would be really interesting. But it's at Anfield. They're going to win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to watch Napoli Barcelona. I want to see. I'll see it. I want to see that. I think that could be a good game. But yeah, listen, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Nobbins. The link is in the description. He's got a video coming out in the next days about Julian Alvarez, which positions suit him best and which don't. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash a like. If you're watching back on replay, give us your comments in the comment section below. Big up Pitbull again for the donations. And I'll see you tonight for Napoli versus Barcelona. See you in a bit.